Hello everybody and welcome back to another WARNO Deck Deep Dive. One for division that I have been asked for to do one in a while, and as I'm currently on holiday, it will be in 16 to 10. I've recorded on my laptop again, and we will go into TKS here. A division that is really close to my heart. It is not in the perfect spot right now, but it is still doing its job. And we're gonna jump right in here into the logistics tab where we have 5 of 7 CVs, 2 more CVs in the Infantry tab, and we have 3 different logistics units. We have the CH-53 with ammunition, we have the Unimog, we have the Mantcat 6x6, so all pretty standard, pretty fine here, and enough supply for the important artillery part of the deck, enough cheap supply to get your infantry and your light vehicles with GMs resupplied. And then in the infantry tab, you get good stuff. You get a Green Beret leader that is pretty chunky. That's why I like it. You can use it to buff up your other infantry. You can have it survive a couple of shots by the enemy. It is expensive, but it does its job as a frontline leader pretty well. Green Berets, pretty important as your forward deploy unit in the early game. With the smoke grenade, they can also help out your other infantry quite a lot. And that is the key part here. The smoke grenade addition really helped out defining the role of the Green Beret. And that's why I still take 2 cards of these guys, even though you usually only use up 3 or 4 of them in the early game deployment, and the rest coming in later. Airmobiles as quick reinforcements with a helicopter coming along is really helpful as well. So that's why we have the French units in here at the same time with the Super Puma helicopter coming in here quickly to resupply the frontline units. Milan 2s and Milan 1s, because you need enough ATGMs to hold off vehicles here in this deck. And as you will see, this deck is a lot about the air tap as well. And so having the Milan teams here doing the job on the ground at holding the enemy off, whilst your planes then come in to kill them, is the key part here. Milan 1, Milan 2. Then the Pioneers with the flamethrower, doing a decent job in CQC, doing exactly what you need them to do. And then 2 cards of Heimatjägers. As since they have a Carl Gustav, they're actually a pretty good squad. 9 men, not amazing, but for 40 points, getting a Carl Gustav, getting 9 men, sure, they are disheartened, but you just want to use them as a cannon fodder in front, and with the Carl Gustav, they actually can deal damage to IVs, they can deal damage to the enemy tanks as well, and that is the key part here. So that's why we take these guys in this role. In the tank tab, we have M48s, and that's the one that is a bit cheaper as it has a 50 cal. This one here having a bit better pen, but you want these kinda as your IVs, as your fire support units, more so than your anti-tank unit, and these are cheaper. You get a couple more, and you get a 50 cal that gives you a bit better HE for the price, and that is what you want to use these guys for. As anti-tank, you have the Iltis Milan and the P4 Milan. Iltis getting you 3 more availability and 10 points cheaper, so you can get a bit more out there, but the P4 obviously a good bit deadlier on 1 vet here to get the accuracy and the aim time on these to a good spot, because of Milans and their lower range, vehicles with guns otherwise can get into range a bit too quickly, so having the extra aim time there can be helpful. Kanonenjagdpanzer is in an okay spot as well. You get good rate of fire. The stealth can be pretty helpful as well if you put this thing in the right spot. And with 6 frontal armor, it at least can survive most hits, and with the smoke on the rear, it can do a decent job as well. Still gets one-shot by 20 pen ATGMs, that's a bit of a weakness for sure, but with the smoke you still should be able to dodge that as well. So Kanonenjagdpanzer is doing their job on the side here. Whilst then the best vehicle, the best gun, comes in the Recon tab. Unfortunately got nerfed quite a bit to nerf the French Armored Division, and that's hitting TKS. So by now it's pretty expensive and only 3 availability per card, but the MX-10 RC still a super key unit in this deck in the early game. Like, this is a key unit to get your opener, which is the strongest part of this deck, followed up with the air. And the second most important unit for that opener is here with the Fallschirmjäger B1 that is now an absolute all-around beast. The MP5 still amazing, the Panzerfaust 3 still great, and the Satchel Chargers do their job right there as well. The BGS coming along with a good AT weapon as well nowadays. So for 50 points that is pretty fair as well, but with them not having a full MP5 loadout anymore, they are not great in fighting enemy infantry, especially not with the reservist trait anymore. So BGS more so just a chunky unit to push forward with, but not the beast that the Fallschirmjäger B1 are, which combined with the Green Berets give you a really good early game forward deployment that you then can follow up with the cheaper units like BGS, Heimatjägers, and Co. And you have a really good AR tab to protect all of this as well. AA tab. You have the VLR with the 20mm, which comes with forward deployment, which is super important that you have some forward deploy AA to protect yourself against helicopter openers. So having that and being able to get you guys into safety is really important. And then you have the Eyehawk, the Roland 3, and the Fliegerfaust, which are giving you all the other capabilities you need. Eyehawk, long range, anti-air, Roland 3 doing that, but with mobility, so that when you have a push going on, you can protect that pretty well as well. And the Fliegerfaust, really solid, cost-efficient anti-helicopter capabilities, so they do the job as well. So all you need here in the AA tab. The helicopter tab I use for more anti-tank capabilities. If you feel like you want to fight against enemy infantry, the Gazelle Cannon with veterancy can do a pretty good job there as well with the great accuracy. But I feel like doing it with the Gazelle Hots here currently is still the way to go. As against infantry you have your own, and you have a really good air tab. The F-104 HE, F-104 AT, coming along here as your spam planes. They are not as great as they have been in the past. The price nerfs to them have been severe, but you still can overwhelm the enemy with numbers with the F-104s and the F-111 LGB then coming in behind that. F-104 AA together with Mirage and the Eyehawks is a pretty good AA network as well. Unfortunately, the Genas don't quite fit in here. They do a decent job on their own, but they're slightly overpriced. It's even more so the Alpha Birds in my eyes, the Alpha Jets. So that's why I don't bring them in. And yeah, you have a good amount of payload here with all of these things. The LGB is pretty important as well. Just one tapping enemy units, and you can fire 2 different units in one run. So against really valuable tanks and so on, this is the key unit that you want to get through, but you have to keep the enemy occupied with the rest of the units. That's why you want to take all of these around as well. And thanks to the cheap infantry and so on, you can afford that. So what do you get here? You get amazing forward deployment, a good vehicle with really good infantry, you get good AA, and you get good air. And what you don't get is IFVs. What you don't get is any modern MBTs. And what you also kind of don't get is some good attack helicopters or so. So, like, all the bigger, more modern vehicles you don't get outside of the air tab, and even there you are limited. It's mostly about the infantry, the artillery, and the air tab doing the job. And that's always what TKS was about, and thanks to the forward deploy you can get in there. But it's not gonna be easy to do it in the current IFV kind of meta, where you have to be really careful about that. Because yeah, the enemy won't bring out that many heavy tanks and won't bring out super much infantry in many games, and that's actually where you're good at. Whilst against IFVs, you will struggle a bit, though you can handle it with the amount of ATGMs you get as well.